That was Senator Ron Johnson getting booed at a Juneteenth celebration this weekend in Wisconsin. It comes after 14 House Republicans voted against the bill to make it a federal holiday. Meanwhile, in Florida, Republicans are going all in on their latest boogeyman, the very discussion of slavery's legacy and systemic racism. The GOP's catch-all term is critical race theory, as if a concept confined to graduate school classrooms could actually tear the country apart.
Critical race theory says America is fundamentally racist and irredeemably racist. Critical race theory seeks to turn us against each other, and if someone has a different color skin, seeks to make us hate that person.
Critical race theory is racism, pure and simple. And it should be rejected by every American of every race.
Critical race theory is the study of structural racism embedded in legal systems and policies that are often taught in graduate school. But conservatives are using it as a pretext to ban the teaching of slavery and other anti-racist education in public schools across America. Back with us is Democratic strategist and MSC contributor Juanita Tolliver. Juanita, and joining us is NBC News senior reporter Ben Collins. I thought Ben was lurking around out there. And back with us again, as I said, is Democratic strategist, contributor Juanita Tolliver. So, Ben, critical race theory is usually taught at the college level or higher. It's 40 years plus old, right? It's been talked around grad schools for some time. How did Republicans bring this fight to elementary schools?
Well, first of all, if you ask somebody running an elementary school, for example, if they're teaching critical race theory, they will say, absolutely not, we don't know what you're talking about. And the reason they say that is because they are not. They're not teaching critical race theory. But there has been a push by think tanks, Republican think tanks specifically, to sort of conflate critical race theory with things like diversity training for staff members of schools, teaching the truths about slavery very frequently. The idea is to make it so you can, like one of the people at these think tanks said, we got to decodify the concept of this thing, of critical race theory, so we can take everything that Americans find annoying right now and just place it into that bucket. That's the point right now. The point to do that, by the way, is to make people really angry and to get them to run for school boards based on basically, the Fox News agenda.
It's a very cynical strategy. It is mind-boggling to me. In fact, Juanita, the New Yorker, calls it, quote, the perfect villain for Republicans to rev up their base. How much of this is pushback after last year's racial reckoning? And what can Democrats do to counter the GOP's messaging? Because that messaging, like we saw with defund the police, can stick.
It can stick in some districts, Michael. I want to emphasize some, because we recognize, let's be real, with the electorate becoming more full of Black, Latino, AAPI, and Indigenous voters, it definitely does not have a sway over every voter block in the country. And so what I think about this, it's just another opportunity for Republicans to reject the truth and reality in which we exist in this country, and really tap into the same racist dog whistle type themes that Trump leveraged as a candidate and as president. I think the only difference here is what Ben mentioned. Republicans are recruiting new candidates to run at local levels to build a bench of a candidate modeled after someone like a Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it shows the GOP moving further and further into that extremist wing, that cult of personality wing that is there to disrupt versus to lead and to legislate. But I think Democrats still need to continue to break this down and name the fact that this is an uncomfortable but honest truth about what this country is. And I think this vote on the Juneteenth bill, making it a national holiday, is a benchmark for doing that, because at the very least, the national holiday will educate much of the public who did not know that there was a 2-year lag between the Emancipation Proclamation and Black people in Texas finding out that they were freed. And on top of that, start conversations into how each system within this country still needs to be remedied of those inequities driven by race and white supremacy. And so I think Democrats need to focus on that, don't even engage with Republicans because we know they won't accept truth here. But where they're building a bench, that's something that Democrats need to continue to do. And we know that Democrats have made a concerted effort over the past multiple election cycles to invest in school board races, state legislature races as well, and to keep that drumbeat going. But I would not engage with a party that, again, is not founded in truth, not founded in reality, and not accepting of the horrible history of this country.
Juanita makes a couple of really important points there, particularly the one where she talks about this being grounded in truth. This theory is really a reflection of a reality that's 400 years old. But in this particular space, it's caught up in a political battle as well. What kind of effect do you see that having on teachers, for example? And just like Trump's big lie, what role has social media played in spreading disinformation about this issue, particularly critical race theory?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the children here, they're an afterthought. And, we talked to this principal named Jeff Porter, who's in Maine, who runs the best school district in Maine. And he was embroiled with this one person who was really able to, he said, hold his county hostage, hold his school district hostage with this fight over the last year. So the kids are not part of the discussion. He said he was talking to children at his school district, and they were worried that he was going to, this one parent was going to show up to graduation or to a band, like a band event. And they would be in the background of something on Fox News or a viral video on YouTube that was, pushed by right-wing activists. That's what they were worried about. The children here are not the thought. This is a fight about politics. This is about, as you just said, building a bench. And then if you build that bench, over time, the ideas get seeped into the system. And then you get more people to fight those fights over time.
Ben and Juanita, thank you very much for the conversation tonight.